And now from McAllen City Hall, a meeting of the McAllen City Commission.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's City Commission meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by Commissioner Omar Quintanilla.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for the blessings that you have bestowed upon our city and our staff. Lord, we continue to pray that you would be with us during this time as we deliberate on the issues that affect our residents. We pray for wisdom and understanding, that we would come to the best conclusion, and we pray that we would honor you in all that we do. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Presentation by Texas Amateur Athletic Federation, Aiden Granados. Or Denny.
Back again. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner, and City Manager for allowing this opportunity for the Parks and Recreation Department to share with you and also our community about this extraordinary young man, Mr. Aiden Granados.
McAllen Parks and Recreation, which includes the well-known Team McAllen Track Club, is proud to be part of the Texas Amateur Athletic Federation, otherwise known as TAF. TAF was established to promote, organize, and conduct amateur athletics in the state of Texas and is made up of over 140 organizations, which we're proud to be part of. The Parks and Recreation Department's mission within TAF is to enhance athlete development and guide our athletes to the next level. The department aims to provide an enjoyable, healthy, and positive TAF program consisting of tennis, swim, golf, and track. The McAllen TAF program is designed to ensure that athletes build on their fundamentals and always keep in mind the core values that are instilled in all of our Team McAllen athletes. In 2022, the department's program achieved a record high of 478 total participants in the track program, with nearly half of our athletes qualifying to compete at the state level. Tonight, we would like to recognize one of our very own, Aiden Caso Granados. Began his career with Team McAllen at the age of 8. Wait till you see these photos, guys. At this year's state games, Aiden brought home the state championship in both the 3,200 meter and 1,600 meter races. After competing and winning against runners from across the state, Aiden was nominated and selected by his peers by unanimous vote as the TAF Region 2 State Male Athlete of the Year. Let's take a look at Aiden's Team McAllen experience.
Aiden epitomizes what it means to be a student athlete. Aiden is a positive influence for the running community and younger runners that are part of Team McAllen. This fall, when he is running for Oklahoma State University, he will continue to uphold his core McAllen values. Team McAllen is proud to see one of its own being presented with the title of Taft Region 2 State Male Athlete of the Year. Aiden's accomplishments, including his recognition at Taft, will continue to inspire his fellow McAllen athletes and let them know that they too can reach their goals. We would like to congratulate Aiden on this most deserving accomplishments and state recognition.
Hello, I'm Aiden, and I would like to say thank you to everyone for this award. It means a lot. When I first started, I really didn't know why I was running. More of a way to lose weight because I really wasn't good at baseball nor football. I was always too small. So, coming out here and being able to accept this award is very, very life-changing, as well as I never thought I'd be able to run D1 in my life. I always thought I was going to be an Aggie, but God has his life and changed anything. But I'd like to thank the city for always having my support and always being there for me when I needed them most.
Thank you. We have a proclamation, Hidalgo County Property Task Force. Commissioner Prosperity. Or what did I say? Property. Okay, well, I didn't bring my reading glasses.
Judge and those that are a part of the task force, if you can come to the front, please.
But the prosperity one, not the property one.
I'd like to, before I read the proclamation, I'd like to thank the county judge, former Mayor Richard Cortez, for establishing and performing this task force to look at the issue of poverty in the county, and for us to get together behind the cause of trying to increase prosperity in our region. It's going to be a regional approach, and it takes somebody like the mayor, former Mayor Richard Cortez, to tackle this type of an issue, and so I thank him for establishing this task force, and I look forward to participating in it. So, it gives me great pride to give the following proclamation. Whereas Hidalgo County is the 8th most populous county in Texas, with some estimates showing a population of 1 million people. Whereas Hidalgo County demographics show that as much as 92% of the population is of Hispanic origin, and analysts say that Hidalgo County is a microcosm of what Texas will look like overall in the future. Whereas Hidalgo County has a disproportionate number of people living at or below the federal poverty level, with some estimates showing that as many as 40% living in poverty locally, meaning that as many as 400,000 residents may be financially struggling. And whereas the contributors to poverty are multifaceted and complicated, with the effects of poverty extending to issues of health, food insecurity, and educational attainment, and even crime. The disproportionate number of residents who are underemployed in Hidalgo County, 1 in 4 people who either have attained some college or have college degrees, earning wages at or below poverty. And whereas Hidalgo County and its municipalities are committed to providing essential services to its residents, but recognize that the most effective way to combat this challenge is to help people escape poverty with proper job training and effective financial literacy. And whereas the Hidalgo County Prosperity Task Force, composed of more than 160 community leaders and policymakers, has been formed with the mission of providing help to those who need it, while identifying candidates for job training with the aim of developing human capital, enhancing existing business, and attracting new business. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City of McAllen hereby acknowledges the challenge of poverty locally and endorses the efforts of Hidalgo County Prosperity Task Force. Congratulations.
So first, I want to express again my condolences to the mayor for his terrible loss, Mayor. And, you know, McAllen has always been a leader in advocating what's good for the community. Hidalgo County being the 8th most populous county in Texas, it's an important county. And when you have a disproportionate share of people in poverty, when you compare it to statistics in the United States and statistics in the state of Texas, then to borrow a phrase from the Houston Space Program, you know, Houston, we have a problem. So when you look as to, well, who's responsible for making it better? Well, we can't look only for Washington. We can't look towards Austin. We have to first look at ourselves. So we formed this Prosperity Task Force, and with the help of all of you here, we're going to get it right. We're going to make a difference in a very complicated issue. And having McAllen as one of our partners, it's always a great partner to have, and I like our chances of being successful. So again, thank you very much for this recognition. I do want to tell you that A&M called us the other day. They want to be our partner, RGV, South Texas College, which we have an ex-dean of here. So we're getting a lot of support. So we're going to do some good. Thank you very much for your leadership also of the city of McAllen. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have our public hearings.
Yeah, one
One more. Jesus Christ, somebody give me glasses. Well, Commissioner Haddad.
Hey, Sachi. And all the women employees should come up.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, we got a lot.
I might.
Got everyone? Big team. Yeah. Not everyone, but a lot of them. City of McAllen Proclamation. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation, state, and city in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation, state, and city by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. American women have been leaders not only in securing their own right of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which creates a more fair and just society for all. The City of McAllen is an organization where women flourish and is proud to boast an equal number of women and men in positions of leadership, influence, and decision and policy making as directors within the organization, helping to bring new vision and perspective to the growth and direction of the municipality and, more importantly, the community. The City of McAllen is also proud to participate in the celebration of the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women because visibility and awareness help drive positive change for women, and as an organization, strives to allow women to walk with a purpose. I, Sebi Haddad, City Commissioner of the City of McAllen, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested in me and on behalf of the Mayor and City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of March as Women's History Month.
Thank you, Commissioner Mayor, and of course, Mr. Rodriguez, and all of our male colleagues who allow us to have this celebration. That's not just about patting ourselves on the back for being women, but for really being allies to each other and for the work that we do that really enhances McAllen, which is what we do every day on a daily basis just to do our best for McAllen. And then to have such a significant amount of women in leadership positions here with the city speaks volumes for the direction and progress of this community and how we support each other for the betterment of our residents. So thank you for allowing us to have this celebration.
Take it for the team, Sebi. Take it for the team.
And now, public hearings.
Why did Debbie get the read?
I know.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. Tonight we have 4 items under routine. They are 1 rezoning, 3 CUPs. As always, they come with a favorable recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission and had no opposition when they were presented. They can be approved in one motion or discussed separately as desired. They are a rezoning from R3A to R3T at 3224 North Taylor, a conditional use permit for life of the use for a school. This is on behalf of MISD at 801 East Lakeview Drive. A conditional use permit for 1 year for an event center. That is not a BYOB event center, by the way, at 1010 South 10th Street, Suite 1. And then a conditional use permit for life of the use for an amended plan unit development for a storage facility at 2501 Russell Road.
Do we have anybody here to speak against the items, any of the items? Anybody in any of the 4 items? If not,
Motion to approve A, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item B.
Yes, sir, this is a rezoning from AO to R3T at 5828 North Benson. This property is an interior tract located on the north side of North 42nd, approximately 660 feet east of North Benson. Adjacent zoning is R1 to the north, west, and south, and AO to the east. Surrounding uses include single-family homes, the drainage district canal, and vacant land. The applicant had initially requested R3T, which is townhomes, for a townhome development, but after submitting the application, since they have amended the request to R1, which better aligns with the single-family homes development trend in the area. The AO to R1 request was presented at the February 7th Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. There was no opposition, and it was unanimously recommended. We are recommending approval to the R1.
Anybody here to speak against the issue, the item? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. May I have a motion to amend the zoning ordinance of
So
the city of
moved.
McAllen?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Consent agenda, items A through P. Do we need to remove anything?
Yes, A, N, and O.
O.
And O.
Okay, but may I have a motion for consent agenda minus items A, N, and O?
Motion to approve
Do I have a second?
to, well, all of them but A and O.
A, N, and
O.
O. That's 3 of them.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item number A.
On A, this is the approval of the minutes. I wanted to note on 6B, there needs to be a correction. Give me a second. Getting to that. It shows that says Commissioner Omar Quintanilla moved to authorize the city manager and city attorney to take these actions described, and seconded by Commissioner Omar Quintanilla. That just needs to be corrected to show who seconded the motion. It wasn't me that did both ends, and so I just want to note that.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve subject to the amendments or the corrections?
So move.
All in favor? Against? Motion carries. Item N.
O.
N.
Yeah, and
And
first.
también?
And yeah.
N. O.
N. O. Yeah.
So I'd like an update on the first two. One is the Taylor Road, and then the Daffodil Project, if you don't mind.
So currently, right now, the city of Mission, they have a local let project for Taylor Road. They have started utility relocation. They have had some road closures as part of that. They have invited us to a groundbreaking. They have not set a date. As soon as if I receive it in my office, I'll pass that on. But construction has started, so you will have disruptions on Taylor Road as of last week.
Have they given you a start and end date? Because I didn't see that on the presentation.
I don't have it, but I can get it
Okay.
on the presentation.
That'd be great if we can include that. I know we're not the lead on that project, but it'd be nice for us to have the start and the end date so that we know if we're staying on track on that project.
Will do.
Thank you so much. Status report on Parks and Rec.
There was one other item on that one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Which is Daffodil. Wanted you to give
You want
us
a
an
brief update on that?
Yes,
Okay.
if you could, please.
So currently, right now, we've been working on underground utilities. We have acquired, there's 2 parcels that need to be acquired on the end of Taylor and Daffodil. Those 2 portions have held up the project slightly. If you look on the project status, the contractor is looking at a July end date. They have not submitted the request for days, but we'd like to just kind of give notice to commission that is a possible item coming forward if they can't make up the time. We have started some of the road work. The other thing that we have worked with the contractor is to substantially complete at least 1 mile section and then the other mile section so that we can finish something in May and then be working on the other section that has a little bit of a delay. They are working with us. They have submitted a schedule. It looks like they may be finishing Benson to Ware first, get that substantially complete, and then finishing off the other end from Benson to Taylor afterwards.
Are there any delays in the acquisition of material or labor or anything else?
We did have some delay on materials. There are some specialty items on sewer that have been resolved. They did get that through, but there was some on that. And then there was some on the storm sewer. We did find an alternative for a supplier that we approved. They had to turn in submittals for us and get a supplier approved. We did get that approved, but that did add the utilities or those specialty items that had long lead times have been resolved, but they did add some time, or will be adding some time to the contract.
Okay.
Any other items on that one?
No, that's it on
Okay.
N. So,
Then we'll go to Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, please.
Yes, sir.
You had a presentation on Kapler, the Kapler project.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a design update, or are you looking at still the same design that had previously been provided, or has that been updated since?
Yes, sir. We have a design update
Okay.
with Andrew Hefner's design team. We just met back out on site last Thursday, so that's about 75% complete.
One of the things that we talked about was a mountain biking type trail. Is that something that's still looking to be incorporated in this?
Yes, sir. We still got that on the north and the south side.
Great. Sounds good.
I know Kepler's supposed to be, for the most part, a fairly natural park, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Is there any aspect of, at least for access, maybe an all-inclusive piece that'll allow them to enter? Or
Every
I'm not sure
entry
what kind of
point that,
amenities.
yes, sir. With the design team, every entry point that we have to the piers, to the dock, to the campgrounds, to the gazebo will have accessibility
Okay.
to be all inclusive. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you so much. Item number 3.
Do we need to?
3A is a water contract for the storage building F and G.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commission. We received 6 bid proposals for 2 storage buildings located at Public Works. Staff recommends award of the lowest responsive bidder, Mata G Construction, Inc. of Penitas, Texas, in the amount of $250,000 and 150 calendar days to complete. We have worked with Mata G Construction. They have performed several projects for the city, so this is a vendor or a contractor that we have used, and we recommend approval, and we open it up for any questions.
Questions, comments? Do I hear a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item B.
B is a water contract for the Toronto Avenue at South 16th Street drainage.
We received 3 bids on the installation of 700 linear feet of new storm sewer infrastructure inlets and related pavement reconstruction. The project is funded by the Community Development Block Grant. Staff recommends award of the lowest responsive bidder, MJA Construction LLC of Mission, Texas, in the amount of $193,267 with 90 calendar days to complete. And again, with this contractor, this contractor has worked with the city of McAllen, they have performed projects for us.
Questions? Not to have motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 3C.
C is award of contract for the Quince Avenue and North 8th Street drainage improvement.
Again, we received 7 bids to install 750 linear feet of new storm line inlets and related pavement reconstruction. This project is funded by the Drainage Fee Fund. Staff recommends award of the lowest responsive bidder, MJA Construction LLC of Mission, Texas, in the amount of $196,506.92 with 60 calendar days to complete, and we open it up for any questions.
Questions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item D.
D is award of contract for the McAllen firefighter training facility.
Again, on this item, we received 5 bids to build the approximately 1,100 square foot fire training facility with 57 parking space or parking lot. The item requires a budget amendment that will be presented as item 4D. Janak and Associates and staff recommend award of the contract to the lowest responsive bidder, NM Contracting LLC of McAllen, Texas, in the amount of $4,642,700 with a contract time not to exceed 480 calendar days. And we open it up for any questions.
I'll be abstaining from this item, Mayor.
What's the size of this facility?
We have 11,000 square
Oh,
feet.
11,000. Okay, that sounds much better.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Against? Motion carries.
Congratulations to you, Ed, and the fire department.
Yep.
Item E.
E is award of contract for the purchase of license plate recognition equipment.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. This is a request for approval for award of purchase of contract to Motorola Solutions for license plate recognition equipment with selected options through for the Texas RGV tag LPR system. This is through existing or multi-governmental co-op contract pricing, including Texas Department, that's DIR, and then TS Sourcewell contract as well. This is more equipment for the LPR system we once approved in January. This is equipment that we're adding on for the city of Alamo, Dana, McAllen, Mission, FAR, and San Juan.
Any questions?
And this is all grant paid for.
Great project.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
F, sole source.
F is the sole source award to Alliance Transportation Group for SRP update.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Commission. The SRTP stands for Short Range Transit Plan. So we are here for a sole source award to Alliance Transportation Group. Before I present the item, I do want to recognize our funding partner, Mr. Andrew Cannon, who's here with us with the RGV MPO. Not only are they funding this particular work that we're asking for, but they originally funded the plan that was adopted in 2019. So we're incredibly grateful for their support and, obviously thank them for the funding. So as I mentioned, the plan was approved in 2019. However, prior to implementation, we did have the COVID-19 pandemic. So the pandemic had some substantial changes to our service and market trends. So at this time, we need to revisit the plan to make sure that before we implement, we take account for all those market changes and service changes. As a perfect example, the plan called for fixed route service to the Northwest McAllen, A&M Tres Lagos. Well, we now have microtransit services that came about because of the pandemic and us having to make some adjustments. So those are kind of changes that have taken place that we need to revisit before we implement the plan. The plan will be implemented in line with the opening of our North Hub. So those are two projects that are hand in hand. And Alliance Transportation Group, since they were the ones that developed the plan, it's our determination that a sole source was warranted to make sure that they know the work and then just quickly revisit the plan in time for implementation. So we're requesting approval.
Thanks, sir. Questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item J.
Thank you.
G is consideration and approval of southbound pedestrian turnstiles at the McAllen International Airport. Not airport, bridge.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager Roy. This item is actually to upgrade the pedestrian turnstiles at the McAllen Hidalgo International Bridge. The turnstiles that we have currently handle about 1 million pedestrians southbound on a monthly basis, and they are breaking down quite often. So the recommendation is to upgrade to new pedestrian turnstiles, and the cost is $61,755. It is a sole source vendor.
Is that per unit? Or
No, it's all
total?
four. We
All
will be
four?
upgrading all four, putting it in this current system that we have.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
H is consideration and selection for delinquent tax collection services.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Commission. On January the 12th, the Purchasing and Contracting Department received 3 responses for the requested proposals, statements of qualifications for delinquent tax collection services. The city is seeking to hire for legal counsel to collect delinquent taxes for all tax years or delinquent tax years. The initial contract shall be for 1 year commencing on the date of the award. If awarded, staff is requesting authorization with city manager approval to exercise the option to extend the contract for 4 additional years, with 1 year increments subject to the performance of the successful vendor. If the awarded vendor fails to meet or perform under the terms and conditions of the service contract, city manager with approval of city manager, we respectfully request authorization to terminate such contract. Staff evaluated and ranked the 3 responses. In your package, you'll see the rank for the 3 responses and the total points for each firm. Staff recommends award a contract for delinquent tax services for a period of 1 year with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms to Linebarger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson, LLP from Edinburgh, Texas. Any questions?
Questions, comments?
I just had a question. I was looking at the scoring sheet, and, 2 of the firms are very, very, very close, right?
Yes, I have the top firm is 275 total points, and the second ranked is 264.
Well, and on these, why don't we get presentations?
When they're that close.
If that's something that you would like to.
Well, I guess it's, has it ever been done like that?
Yeah, in fact, we did.
Generally, I know we usually have Lineberger, there's Purdue, I don't know who else, and they're good, reputable firms. You just need to make sure that, and believe me, we trust the city, the staff, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, for the purposes of, everybody feeling that we give everybody an opportunity, sometimes I think, for us, especially when it's services like attorneys, engineers, those type of services, sometimes I think it's important to have a presentation.
I understand.
But of course, this has already been done also, so maybe in the future, or I don't know what the commission wants to do.
Yeah, we can certainly bring it back to in a workshop setting for presentations. We did that, in fact, 5 years ago, so if that's the direction you want us to take, we could do that.
It's up to the commission. I'm just saying because this is something that's kind of similar to the engineering, the architects, the attorneys, that type of stuff. But
yeah, I
it's up
remember
to you.
5 years ago us listening to a presentation, I think, from both firms as well, and so I thought we would be doing the same today, but didn't sound like it. But yeah, and there's I was also going through that scoring system as well, and there's a section, performance ratios, which is scores less points than its experience. I would think it'd kind of be the other way around. It's performance ratios might have more points because it's a performance, right, type base. Nonetheless, that's the reason why presentations are important, so that you just get to hear from I guess 2 or 3. I don't know how.
We'd recommend 2. The third one is pretty far off, and so if we're going to interview, we'd recommend the top 2, which is what we did the last time.
Yeah, of course. And I think presentations will really only be needed if there was a certain thin margin, right? I mean, if the margin was significantly farther away, I don't think you really need to go through that exercise.
That's right.
It's up to the wishes of the commission.
I'll make a motion to table the item.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. 4A is consideration and possible approval for an ordinance regarding record services and fees.
We switch screens. Mayor, this is an ordinance that was really requested by the wreckers. They would like to increase their flat fee from $100 to $200 and also allow the charging of an additional $50. The ordinance, as recommended, adopts the language of a previous iteration of this ordinance as it existed in the city for quite some time. I'm not sure if the police department has any comments on the language of the ordinance, but we would recommend approval.
Questions?
Do you have an idea what insurance normally covers for people?
I don't.
No.
About $250.
And what was the last time that there was an increase?
A very long time ago. I can't give you an exact date.
It's been at least 7+ years. The ordinance does a couple of things. It sets some fees. It also sets some policies. Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Mayor, and Commissioners. One thing, it places forward the requisite for the commission to set a number of how many records operated under the rotation. We've had 14, which is an adequate number, but given the fact that we are reinstituting, so to speak, this ordinance, we would take your guidance on how you want to either hold the number at 14, or do you want to set a new number at a later date and reserve that option. I've drafted some language suggestions here that would leave it at 14, subject to you changing it anytime you want to from that point forward. We can go that way, or we can go open-ended with, one every 10,000 in population, or whatever kind of formula you want to use. Always subject to the commission's resetting of the numbers. But the commission sets the number of records that serve on the rotation.
I'm surprised there's 14 of them. Sounds like a lot to me.
You have some small cities with 4 or 5 in there.
Really?
And
not surprised that there were 14 of them. I thought there'd be less.
Yes, sir. Now, there are 14 companies that, there's some companies that are owned by same owners, like one owner may own 2 or 3 companies, but there are currently 14 companies on the rotation list. And we've been at that for now going on 8 years, more or less. The last time we looked at this with the commission was about 2014, 2015.
And what's going rate in the other communities? I'm just saying, it's been 8 years, they've been at $100, now they want $200, and what is reasonable and what is not reasonable?
I could not honestly tell you what they charge elsewhere. Not every city has a record ordinance like the one we have. The beauty of working the ordinance the way we have it is that it allows a tow truck service to get on a rotation, but they must agree to a set of fees. So when they are on that service, those fees are fixed by city commission. Absent them being on there, if some citizen just calls other record company, whatever, and they're not on the rotation, then they're not governed by or regulated by those fees that are set.
Of course, the citizen has the option of calling their own.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Always does.
That's very reasonable, Commissioner, if you compare it to other cities that I've seen. And my car got picked up in South Padre Island. It was more than that.
More than 200?
Yeah.
It's real.
Okay.
Real experience.
Around my house.
So the ordinance is really, if I may say, summarize this thing, we're just restoring the ordinance as it was. There is a fee adjustment that the city attorney has made to the ordinance as it was. The only other piece of information that I would ask is if you want to either guide us or include it in the ordinance in terms of setting 14 now, subject to, that's because that's what we're operating at. That's what we've been operating at all this time. So you said 14 now, subject to you changing it anytime you want to in the future.
If it's working.
I think if it's working, it's fine. We would
Yes.
change it upon your recommendation likely, so if you think it's sufficient, we'll leave it as is.
It's adequate right now. Yes, sir.
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
And the approve is to?
Motion to approve
Increase
the
the
ordinance
fee.
as provided,
Yes.
setting the fees as
Yes.
recommended in the memo, and the cap of 14 service
Correct.
providers on the rotation list.
As
And
city
that can
attorney
always be, you can always, the language we put forward is 14 now, and you can change it anytime you want.
Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item B, 4B.
B is providing for a budget amendment for the Anza Lewis International Bridge Debt Service Full Cargo Project.
Good afternoon again, Mayor, City Commissioners, City Manager. This item is a budget amendment to pay the debt service interest for Revenue Bond Service 2022A and 2022B in the amount of $2,345,027. I didn't include it in the budget due to the fact that the loan was finalized at the end of the budget process, so this amendment will take care of the payment for this year.
I got a question. So this pertains to the revenue bonds, but the NADBank term is no payment for 2 years, if I remember correctly, or do you remember what the terms are?
This is
Right,
for the,
so-
go ahead.
Yeah, so what the city commission approved in the bond ordinance was no payment until 2025 on principal. So this is only an interest payment.
Got it.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item 4C.
C is updating the city's designated representative to inspect on-site sewage facilities and to enforce applicable regulations.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We'd like to request a change in an effort of efficiency. We're requesting that the entire review process of the OSSF, which is the on-site sewage facilities, be transferred to the Building Inspections Department. As they currently conduct the plumbing line inspections, this would make it more efficient and easier. Currently, it was a dual inspection effort between the Environmental Health and Code Enforcement Department and the Building Inspections Department.
What do we need?
Yeah, just approval. We're just moving the duties from the health department over to the building inspection department.
Well, you all know much better than we do. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item D.
D is providing for a budget amendment for the firefighter training facility. Mayor, you saw, and the commissioners, you saw the item before you earlier. Came in over budget just because of everything that we're experiencing. We have that, the amount of money in an unencumbered and unassigned fund balance from the stimulus money. We're recommending we use that money for the.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Item E.
E is consideration and possible approval of an amendment to the sign ordinance to allow relocation agreements for off-premise.
Yes, sir. So the current sign ordinance prohibits off-premise signs. Pre-existing off-premise signs were allowed to remain as non-conforming, and so the current ordinance would allow for the relocation of the signs and possible reduction of those signs. We are recommending approval.
You're talking about
The actual billboards.
billboards
Correct.
and that type of stuff.
Yeah, so off-premise sign is any sign that is not advertising something that is on that property as well.
Okay, explain that to me again.
An off-premise sign is something that is advertising something that is not on the premises. So for example, if you have a McDonald's on the lot, you can advertise McDonald's. You cannot advertise, however, Home Depot if that lot that you're advertising for is a McDonald's.
What if you're renting?
You cannot.
Yeah,
If
it's a
that
marquee.
establishment doesn't or isn't in that plaza or in that lot, you would not be able to advertise. It's
Okay,
an
but
off-premise.
marquees with all the different, all that type of stuff is still good.
Yeah, and Mayor, if the commission has questions about the legal implications of this proposed ordinance, I'd be happy to discuss that with the commission in executive session.
Okay. And once we go, I think we should recess into executive on this one. Okay, item number 5.
5 is consideration of a variance request to paving requirements at the proposed Olive Grove Estate subdivision.
Yes, sir. So Olive Grove Estates is a 2-lot, single-family home development on the south side of Lark, approximately 140 feet west of North Ware Road. The engineer, on behalf of the owner, is requesting a variance to the paving requirements for Lark, which, as a minor arterial street, requires 65 feet of paving, but is proposed at 53.9. The basis for this request is the existence of 44 Washingtonia palms located on the south side of Lark, which the developer requests to remain. With a paving width of 53.9 feet, the curb would be 5 feet away from those trees, and they would be allowed to remain. Development departments reviewed the request and are recommending disapproval of the request. Further, the engineering department is requesting the specific escrowing of the funds, since expansion of Lark is planned in their CIP plan. There are 3 options before you. Staff, again, is recommending option 1, which is disapproval of the paving width reduction.
Would disapproval of it require the removal of the trees?
Correct.
The expansion of Lark, the proposed expansion of Lark will also require the removal of the trees?
Correct. The only issue is if we widen it to the full extent, that would remove the trees. If we widen it only to 53.9, which is what the developers are requesting, then the trees would remain. They'd be about 5 feet away from the curb.
What effect would that have on the, I mean, you're talking about sidewalks and everything?
Correct.
Because we're talking about 6 feet, or what is it, 7 feet?
It's about, the difference is about 12 feet of paving from 53 to 65, 53 to 65. Right, so that's the difference.
I've driven that section of Lark. I mean, those trees are impressive, right? They're in this really nice row. I would hate to not have a middle ground where we can save the trees.
I think that we can
I don't
accommodate.
know how we can. I mean, how can we if a possible street?
Well, we can do it by going 53.9, which is 11 feet difference, and, I mean, it was, we cannot destroy those.
I guess I'm trying to picture where the sidewalk will be relative to the trees and all of that. I mean,
We do have, that's a schematic of what they're proposing. We also have the project engineer here, if he wishes to speak.
I have a question for Eduardo. I mean, does it eliminate a lane, or what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So with a 52 back-to-back, it would be a 4-lane section. We can possibly live with that, what Edgar was proposing, the 52 back-to-back, or approximately 53.9 back-to-back. There aren't right now any left turns. The only one would be one coming over the hill. So it's not a lot. What we saw in the proposal that's there is eventually when we do go to that 52, or if that was the proposal that commission told us to go to, those palm trees would likely have to get removed at that time. They were proposing a new fence inside that area. We don't want a new fence because that will have to come out, and they were proposing a masonry fence that is pretty costly, and we know that would be something that we cannot work around.
So the rest of Lark is going to be a 5-lane section?
It varies between a 5-lane
east
and a
of it and west of it?
It varies between 5 and 4-lane sections, just kind of depending on utilities and
if there's enough width.
So in front of Lark Community Center, it's a 5-lane section. There's other sections that are 4-lane when you get in front of the church. So that's why I'm saying when we get down to 53.9, what came out there on their drawing, we could live with the 4 lanes, make that fit through.
And the concern is, I mean, we keep on growing. We need to grow as efficiently as we can. But anytime we cut a tree, our community just kills us too.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm kind of familiar with the area.
I'm looking at the
So we need to figure out.
What do you want to
I think one of the proposals Edgar had was doing a license agreement for the palm trees.
That one's not until the next commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's his.
So if we didn't keep the trees,
So
what, this.
that may be, I don't know if you want to speak to that or not.
What's the change?
So
Okay.
this is 60 right here. Well, it shows 60, it's really 59. we'd be going to about right here. Right. Of pavement, so all of them would come out.
Sorry, I was trying to get an idea.
Yes, sir.
Sidewalk line.
And they don't need a left turn in there?
There's one by the subdivision on the north that could possibly benefit from the left turn. But there are areas where we've done 4-lane sections. It's not ideal. We'd prefer the 65. That's what we were pushing for. I think the option that planning is proposing is a middle ground option. We have asked for the 65. We've been trying to get the 65 throughout this corridor. The right-of-way calls for a 65. Eventually, we know with growth, we may have to come back and buy right-of-way and get that 65.
I don't know why we would want to limit ourselves. I mean, I'm all for palm trees, right? But I think travel is a little more important than palm trees. But
It's not a major stretch.
Yeah, because you can adapt anyway.
These are
as you go and as
these are
you
a bit
develop.
different, I think. I mean, have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, I think they're nice.
They're very nice. Very nice.
No way to. We have a proposed 5-foot sidewalk. I mean, smaller than that. Can't we put that in traversed with the trees? I mean, I don't know.
Well, maybe.
If I may approach,
Actually,
just to hand you some photographs.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fine.
I don't think that they have the photographs, and I think it will help everyone.
Judge, yes, but we just can't entertain.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. Big developer, yeah.
Next time there's a subdivision, all we have to do is.
Right. 5 lanes. Transportation plan calls for 5 lanes. Which would put it past the. It would be like Benson, from the expressway to Mile 3.
Eduardo, the right-of-way there, was the right-of-way already in place when the trees were planted, or?
There is no right-of-way dedication. That's why those trees, they're currently in private property at this time.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Any other questions?
I mean, is the removal of the trees, is it imminent at some point? Guaranteed to happen?
We believe so. When we go either to the 52 or 65, they'll be disturbed with equipment, and typically when we work near the roots, those trees end up dying.
So there's no way around it?
Wait a minute. You're saying if we grant the 53.9,
we're gonna
it will affect the trees?
When we go to the full build, when we decide, because what we're asking for right now is an escrow so that we could put a project together to do the full project later on. When we go to the 52, we cannot guarantee that those palm trees are going to survive.
Oh, no, you can't, nobody can guarantee anything, but, I'm sorry, I beg, you would want somebody that knows and lives it, and if you can say that you cannot, work and save those trees, you're saying you're the judge of that?
So, I mean, currently there's no design. So I still have when we're coming with a road project, we still have to look at sewer, water, storm systems. When you look at the full utilities, because that's what the rest of the right-of-way is used for, is for utility, sidewalk, things like that. We're not sure what would end up being on that side, and there's the possibility that those palm trees could get.
These are extremely unique. This is an extremely unique situation, much like what we had at, a little further south on, when they were doing the big development, and we have a development, I can't remember, VSS something. And those are unique situations. This is a unique avenue, and the city's known for what it is, and I'd hate to battle that one. So I just think that that the whole area is going to be 4-lane and 5-lane, 4-lane and 5-lane, because there are areas west and east that there are houses that you cannot take to 60 foot.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I know the area, and I know it to the west and to the east. So there are going to have to be avenues, okay, or.
And you start adapting.
And this is,
as you
this
travel,
is
yeah.
500 feet. And there is, in Loxley, across the street, there is a egress lane already there that can be encompassed into it. So.
But it's how many lots?
2 lots.
2 lots. And this is a concern I have. The property, it's a beautiful property. Reminds me of the Crane property, which we don't have much of here in McAllen. And I don't think we'll see much of this anymore.
Y'all talked about a masonry fence. Eventually, you're gonna have to.
So I don't know if that's part of this, but they're, in full context of the project, they're proposing a fence, and we're gonna ask for a license agreement. I think that's on a separate item. We would recommend that fence not go through a license agreement, because we know that we're gonna be building, putting utilities, things of that effect. The fence is not there at this time. We don't think it's a good idea to put it within our right-of-way. That's not part of this item. I got ahead of myself.
Somewhere down the line.
But that would also include tearing up the proposed sidewalk and all of that, right? Because the fence is on the inner part.
So that fence is not currently there. That's a proposal for a new fence
Yeah, just a
shown
proposed
inside the
fence
right-of-way
line,
that
right?
would need a license agreement. That's not this item. I don't want to get things confused for you guys.
What are the wishes of the commission?
I do think that it can be adaptations as you travel, as Commissioner Aguirre was mentioning. I mean, it is possible, and also part of our intake should be like continue to keep our McAllen beautiful and getting rid of 44 palm trees. That when I think is going to be a way around to
And
do things.
53.9 will give us 4 lanes of
Exactly.
wideness there. And I would make the motion to have that length of 53.9.
0.9. Second.
There'll be a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against?
Aye. What was it? We went with the 52, is that what we did?
53.9.
So that was option 2, right? Is you're approving the variance, right? As requested?
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Debbie, we're missing you.
Me?
Yes, for or against on the
I
variance.
voted against that.
There's a motion by Tony, a second
Okay,
by me.
so-
4?
4? Okay, motion passes. We have manager's report.
6A is consideration of the acceptance of the certification of unopposed candidates, and I'll let Perla read the rest of it.
Evening, Mayor and City Commission. This item is for acceptance of a certification of unopposed candidates for certain races on the May 6, 2023 general city election. for City Commissioners, single-member districts 5 and 6, and for the McAllen Public Utility Board of Trustees, places B and C at large. Additionally, we're also asking for approval of an order of cancellation pursuant to Section 2.053 of the Texas Election Code that states that in an election in which any members of the governing body are elected for single-member districts, an election in a particular single-member district race may be canceled if candidates are unopposed and there are no large opposed races on the ballot, which in this case, we didn't have any opposition for the 2 races that were at large for MPUB. Therefore, we're able to bring this forth for consideration, and staff is recommending approval of cancellation for those races, just leaving the race for District 4.
Commissioners, I just want to add to the comments that Perla made that we had received a question about write-in candidates and that the deadline to file as a write-in candidate has also passed. So that is a non-issue if the commission favors this request.
Okay, excellent. So what, do we need a motion to accept an order or to?
Yes.
What do we need on that from council?
You need to approve.
A motion to approve if that's the commission's desire.
Motion to approve the order.
Sabian, I cannot participate.
Oh, why not?
I'm asking, I don't know.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll let you guys.
I'll let you guys second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Gentlemen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Immigration?
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, the immigrant drop-off numbers from CBP and ICE remain fairly moderate at present. For the last 2 weeks, we've had an average of 125 per day being dropped off. For the week ending on February the 15th, we had 934. The week ending on February the 22nd, we had 815. These are all being taken care of at the Catholic Charities Respite Center, and as you'll remember, Unzel Duas Park remains now in standby mode. We have a capacity of 1,000, the ability to surge that to 4,000 if needed. Also, with the announcement earlier this year of the expiration of the public health emergency related to COVID that is going to take place on May the 11th, we're expecting that Title 42 will expire that day, and so we remain in close contact with both our regional and federal partners to see exactly what impact that will have on us when that takes place.
But hopefully the way they're doing it now, we shouldn't, I hope, have that much of an impact.
We are hoping for a low impact. Numbers are low. Based on what we've seen here over the last 30 days or so, the numbers are about half of what they were previously. You'll remember there was a period of time where the RGV sector was by far the largest number sector where we had apprehensions. As it stands right now for January, Del Rio, Tucson, El Paso, San Diego, all of those sectors had numbers that were above what we saw in terms of apprehensions for the Rio Grande Valley. So the numbers have changed quite a bit, as you said, Mayor, with the result of modifications that have been made to the process with CBP.
This is one of the times that we're glad we're not number one.
Yes.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Future agenda items. Anything?
Nope.
Okay, we'll recess into executive session.
No. There was the table item.
Oh, table item. Table item. Okay. 7A.
It is ready to be, yes, sir.
Motion to take off the table.
There's a second. Second. In favor?
Aye.
Against? Off.
All righty. Chez de Jardin is a one-lot subdivision consisting of 10 acres located on the south side of Russell, east of Flores Zapata Elementary. Surrounding uses are single-family homes, vacant land, and 3 schools at the intersection of North 29th and Russell. The developer is requesting a variance to the escrow requirements needed for a future North 25th lane and 8 3/4 mile road. Both roads are designated as quarter-mile collectors, requiring 60 feet of right-of-way and 40 feet of paving. The basis for the request is that the existing development conditions will make it difficult for the infrastructure to be placed. Development departments reviewed the variance request and are recommending compliance with the escrow requirements. There are 5 options before you. Staff is recommending option 1, which is disapproval, but if variance is considered, then we would be recommending a contractual agreement, which is option 3. And the developer is here.
questions? Who do we have?
Mrs. Cross or Mr. Corbett, depending on this.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission. May I present this to you? This quick presentation, just a pages for a PowerPoint presentation. Kind of outlines the details that we're talking about in this bill.
Thank you.
Just want to go through the slides with you so that we can point out what we're looking at and the issues associated with it. So this is for the proposed Chase Desjardins subdivision. It will be the hide-and-seek self-storage facility. We're asking for a variance in the escrow amount for the proposed roadway only, which is 25th Lane and 8 3/4 as designated on our plat. City has estimated that this is around $339,000 in escrow for 25th Lane and 8 3/4. We are agreeing with and are going to escrow the amount or build the necessary section for Russell Road, which is estimated at around $97,000. Total required escrow value for all of these is around $436,000. This amount, $339,000 for 25th Lane and 8 3/4, does impact the development of the project. I do have the owners with me, Jane Cross and also Mr. Kenneth Johnson. The right-of-way we are dedicating out of the 10-acre tract, 10-acre one-lot commercial tract, we're dedicating 1.58 acres. So that also has, value in itself in the dedication. And that will be roadway dedication that we're not disputing. It does have issues with connectivity, and that was one of our primary things. Is the city's asking us for escrow amounts for 25th Lane and 8 3/4, but there is no way that these roads will ever connect in the foreseeable future. You have, if you look on the map that I show here, I know it's kind of small, but it shows 25th Lane going along Ravenswood, which is there on the east side of the proposed 25th Lane, or the potential future corridor. In addition, there are large houses that would actually be displaced and have to be removed for that corridor, not only for 25th Lane, but also for 8 3/4 if you look west. The last issue that we have is really with constructability. If you look at the grade for Nemont subdivision, which is just west of us, if you were to tie 25th Lane in, it would be difficult because you have a 7-foot grade difference between Nemont and that existing deadhead that they have there and the proposed roadway for 25th that would be along our subdivision. In addition to that, there's also the physical tie-in to the school. If the school did want to tie in, it would not be feasible because they have an existing lift station there at the north end and then also a detention pond. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, and also the owners as well.
Hey, Tony, usually I say kind of keep it down, but you're the one that knows a lot about this stuff.
Well, can I address the two things?
Yeah,
Yes.
You brought up. So first of all, I mean, I can see that this will not be a simple construction, but it can be done. You put a retaining wall to take care of the difference in elevation, takes care of that. And we actually have a compound curve, much like that on 29th Street over on Oxford. That's what we had to do, is to go to the right and up. So it can be done. If the city commission decides to do something different, we can do that. My recommendation is to have a contractual agreement so that when and if this is necessary, we can evaluate what we have there. And if we can't do it, we don't do it. But to make that decision today, when we're 10 to 15 or 20 years from making this improvement, I think would be premature.
So if we grant the variance, is saying in this contractual agreement, right? The contractual agreement would be exercised when and if
the road extension happens.
The road extension happens.
Regardless of who's there at the time, so it runs with the land and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, because 25 years from now, chances are I'm not going to be here. Ms. Cruz is probably not going to be here.
La Juana.
Or your Vania. So those are the issues we need to deal with.
But, okay, at this price or at the price of when it happens?
But that's the issue, though. if it's not gonna happen in 20-something years, to be escrowing now, that's what makes it.
That's why it makes.
Yeah.
And contractually, it goes, so I guess, how would that work?
You can set it however you want, really.
If we propose to extend the roadway, the city would have to be initiating the extension of that roadway, or that development that's to the south and to the west could propose to develop and would give us an opportunity to connect Russell to Chapin Road. So there are probably those two options. If that develops in the south, or if the city initiates the project.
And at
Okay,
that
let
time-
me, but this escrow is for it to get to where? From Russell Road all the way to?
No, to the southwest corner of his property.
Just to the
That's
southwest
right.
corner of the property.
That's correct.
So, but you're saying it go into a contractual agreement that when it is 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or never?
Right.
Or do
And
you-
the money is not required to be deposited now.
Which is option 3.
I would appreciate that one.
Seems like it, right, option 3?
Yeah, contractual agreement.
Right,
I
Heather?
mean, it kills a project for $350,000.
Yeah.
It's option 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so you would be willing to accept that proposal that the city manager stated?
I think that's the option we're willing to approve.
My
accept
partner would
this.
like to see it on paper, like written.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
whenever.
okay.
As long as contractually, they'd be responsible at the time. And at what, if we're talking about 10 years from now, Roy, at what cost?
At the cost of the time.
At the cost of the time?
That would be the city though, wouldn't it?
No.
Just
No.
asking.
No, that'd be.
If I give you the right of way. Just asking, just asking.
That to be determined at that point in time.
Yeah.
For now. I'd make a motion to approve option 3.
3, second.
All in favor? Against? Motion carries.
Can I have my glasses back?
Were these yours?
Yeah.
She wanted you to read exactly what.
Let's see, what do we have?
Executive session.
That was it?
Executive session.
And then we have one item that we're also going to executive session. We'll recess into executive session.
Pandering. You and Tony.
We're back from executive session. Councilman, what do we have?
Mayor, I recommend the commission go back to the tabled agenda item and take that matter first. That was item 4E.
Item 4E, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
And Mayor, with respect to item 8A, I recommend the City Commission consider a motion authorizing and appointing the city manager, city attorney, and Commissioner Quintanilla as the bargaining agents for the city in collective bargaining with MPLEA, the Police Department Union.
I hear a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
With respect to item 8B, I recommend the City Commission consider a motion authorizing city manager and city attorney to offer reimbursement in connection with the air service agreement and any pre-sales that may have been made.
I hear a motion to approve.
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Mayor, with respect to item 8C1, I recommend that the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the city manager and city attorney to offer the economic development incentives described in executive session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
With respect to item 8C2, I again recommend that the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the city manager and city attorney to offer the economic development incentives described in executive session.
To approve. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Mayor, with respect to item 8D1, I recommend that the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the city manager and city attorney to enter into the lease agreement for the real property described in executive session on the terms so described.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
And Mayor, with respect to item 8D2, I recommend the City Commission authorize city manager and city attorney to list 2401 La Vista and 2308 North 25th Street for sale on MLS for a period of not less than 30 days with a licensed real estate broker, and then to authorize or negotiate the terms of a possible sale of those lots.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. There
Mayor, I
being
have no more agenda items for you, Mayor.
No further business? This meeting is adjourned.
Great.
Regular City Commission meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Meetings are rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on the McAllen Cable Network.
Before you is a condensed statement of net position. The statement of net position provides a long-term view of the city's finances. This statement is presented much like a private sector company. The statement includes all assets and liabilities using the accrual basis of accounting. Under the total primary government column, you'll see the city's net position for fiscal year 2021 is $841 million.